Hello, Sonder fam. Welcome to our Sunday evening. I'm pretty sure it's Sunday evening. I feel like when the holidays happen, I start to get all confused as to what day it is anymore, but I think it is Sunday, and we are going to do our weekly setup to get that first week of December all ready to go. Get rid of those Sunday scaries. You're going to be all ready to tackle this first week. So, my name's Maya. And I am coming to you from Aurora, Colorado, which is a little suburb. Well, it's not little, but it's a suburb of Denver. We had a beautiful day today. I think it was like 63 degrees. It was perfect for trimming the tree and getting, because we were getting stuff out of the garage and kind of tidying up the yard and getting things out. So that was lovely. And I hope everyone had a good, safe holiday weekend, recovering from lots of food that we had over the weekend. Let's see. So with me tonight, I have the fabulous Jennifer O in the chat. She is keeping an eye, and she'll give a little wave there. Hey, Jennifer. She's coming to us from Texas, where it was probably warmer than 63 degrees today. Um, but she'll keep an eye on the chat. I try to keep an eye to see if there's any questions or anything, but Jennifer is definitely keeping an eye on that. So if you have any questions, need me to go back a slide, anything like that, feel free to ask those questions in there. Speaking of the chat, make sure you set that little blue box to say everyone. It has a tendency, an obnoxious little tendency to flip to host and panelist, especially if you're on a phone or if you're on an iPad. And so when you do that, the only people that see what you write are myself and Jennifer. So if you ever put something in there and you don't notice anyone responding to you, it could very well be that you had it set to host and panelist. We try to remind you, but sometimes we forget. Also, speaking of the chat, sometimes it gets rolling a little fast because we usually have over 100-ish people here. So if that stresses you out, you don't have to participate, right? Don't worry about being in the chat. I will tell you, Zoom has had some obnoxious updates lately. And so sometimes it's hard to kind of freeze the chat or scroll up and down. I have a hard time with that sometimes. So again, sometimes people get on these weekly setups and they just ignore the chat and they're just kind of nose and journal, following along, getting things set up. Other people love to participate in the chat, and that's kind of what they focus on. They take screenshots, or if they've are on the computer, they'll take a picture with their phone, and so that way they can work on it later. And or you can always come to other weekly setups. We usually do 3 weekly setups each weekend. We'll do one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and then one on Monday mornings. So you're welcome to come to all 3 of those, and some people do because that helps them, gives them that time. And that's the nice thing, right? You've carved out an hour of your time so that you can be with us, you can work on this journal, and you can feel really prepared for this upcoming week. So kudos to you for making that time and joining us. A few other little community guidelines. We like to make sure this is a safe and respectful space for everyone. So we just ask that you're kind and courteous to both yourself and others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy here. No hate speech or bullying. We limit those repetitive product and accessory questions. If you want to ask about where people are getting their stickers or their pens, that's absolutely fine. But the best place to ask those questions is in Sonder Club in the app, because then people can put links in there for you. That is one thing that also is potentially an issue with the chat, is sometimes links in the chat aren't clickable. So again, screenshots are going to be your friend, or taking a picture, those kinds of things. If you have any of those customer care inquiries, like you've changed addresses, or you need to change your billing form of payment, or you haven't gotten this month's journal yet, all those kinds of questions go to hello@silkandsonder.com. Just give them a little bit to answer. They are Monday through Friday Pacific time zone, and they were off, they had the holidays off as well. So just so you know, it does sometimes take them a little bit to get back to you, but they will. And then ultimately, these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have such a fabulous, supportive, fun community here, but ultimately you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decision. So if there's anything that's kind of not your jam, you're not liking, you don't want to fill out that particular part, you want to skip ahead, you want to color instead of work on a particular section, you do you, right? This is your time. I can't see you. I can't hear you. No one else can either, right? It's just me that you can see and hear. So make this your time. Make this what you need for you. So if you need to mute the music that I play, do that. If you need to mute me and just turn on the closed captioning, do that, right? If you have to leave, sometimes you have to leave, right? So it's just, again, this is the time for you. There's not going to be any journal police that are going to come to your house and ask to see your journal and give you a demerit, right? If something is wrong, there's no wrong way to do this. And you'll see we have lots of examples of ways that different folks have filled out these pages. And that really is kind of a testament to the fact that you make it your own, right? We give you lots of suggestions, we give you lots of hints, but ultimately it's you, right? And you make that what you need it to be. So this month's theme here in December, pretty exciting, I think, is kind of a fun one, this idea of optimism. And I want to start out by saying sometimes optimism can feel maybe fake, right? And so this is what we're thinking of when we think of optimism. And if you haven't had a chance to read Meha's letter, be sure and do that on page 2, because she always kind of writes a little bit about what she was thinking with the idea. But this little quote down in the bottom right where I say, optimism is not about ignoring the negative, but about choosing to focus on the positive and believing in the potential for a better outcome, right? So this isn't toxic positivity. This isn't, oh, Pollyanna, everything's great and wonderful, right? It's like, okay, I know there's some crummy stuff over here. I'm going to focus on the positives of this, maybe what I'm learning from this, what I can take away from this, and believing in that potential for the better outcome. And another quote is, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And then I really like the little one in the middle with the feather, right? It says, there is freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky. And you ask, what if I fall? But oh, my darling, what if you fly? Right. And that's optimism is a lot about what ifs and trying to do the more positive what ifs as opposed to focusing on those negative what ifs. And then I also included the little clip from Silk and Sonder's Instagram. If you don't follow Silk and Sonder on Instagram, highly recommend it. Lots of fun little things like, self-care tips for the winter, those kinds of things. But they had this one where they said, this winter is full of growth, good news, unexpected blessings, progress, healing, love, new opportunities, and good energy. So we're going to dive right into this idea of optimism, which I think is good. We're coming out of the month of joy. And I know some folks struggled a little bit with that one. And, but that's okay, right? Again, sometimes really just kind of focusing on those small positive things and that potential for a better outcome. So our agenda for tonight, we're going to do the optimism mind map. When we do these weekly setups, we always do a mind map where it just gives you an opportunity to dig a little deeper into that month's theme. We'll do our rosebud thorn reflection, and then we'll do some weekly setup pages. And I always include these 2 little cartoons. If you've been with me before, you know I always have these because I think the messages are really important. The first one here is, there's room for you here just as you are. Things are going great. We want to celebrate with you. Tell us the awesome things that are happening, awesome things that are coming up, things that are going fabulous in your life, things that are going well, right? Share that with us. We love to celebrate with you. But we know life's a series of ups and downs, right? And sometimes things are not going well. And sometimes this can be a very stressful and overwhelming time of year, especially if you've lost loved ones. This can be a really rough time. And that's okay, right? We're here for you just as you are. So you can bring that to us. We will give you virtual hugs and we will keep you in our thoughts as you share those things, right? And then the other thing is, the way that you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. Nobody can tell you, oh, you shouldn't be mad about that, or oh, you should be happy for this, or right? People can't tell you how you're supposed to feel. You feel how you feel, and we're here for it, and we're feeling the emotions, right? And we're going to experience them together, and we'll just kind of keep moving through. All right, so this mind map is not anything that's in your journal. So there's no particular page to turn to. You can find a blank page. A lot of times people will use the very last page in the journal to do this, which is page 60. I like to use the page, I'm trying to find in my journal where it is. It's the page that's like right after, where is it? I use the page 7, because it's blank and it's right after the future log. You could also use the scratch pad section. You can use sticky notes. You can use another journal, whatever works for you, right? So, optimism is a skill that can be cultivated over time. I think that's really important to think about, right? We're going to work on our optimism muscle this month. So, are you ready to brighten your perspective? This month will unlock the power of optimism. This week, we're going to start by considering celebrating small wins. So our mind map will always have four. We're going to keep it with four sections. So a lot of times people will just divide their page into four. I know there's going to be an extra weekend in this month, and we'll probably have like a little year-end wrap-up mind map question for you. But this week, we're going to focus on celebrating our small wins. Recognize and celebrate even the tiniest victories each day. How can you do this? What would it look like to celebrate small wins? So I have mine is kind of in the background there. You'll notice I'm using the green and pink markers. We saw Wicked last week. Early, we saw it last Wednesday, and it was just lovely. And I do so enjoy that. So I'm kind of embracing the pink and green here. But I gave some examples of what are small wins for me, like planning my meals, reading a chapter of a book, getting up on time, completing a task on my to-do list, walking a mile. And then examples of ways I can celebrate. I can write it down. I can log that somewhere. I could have a dance party. I could have a cup of tea. I could take a 5-minute break, right? I can think of all these different things that I could do. And so I have this fun little graphic with the guy who's like crossing the finish line. But when you pan out a little bit, you see crossing the finish line was getting out of bed in the morning, right? And sometimes that is our small win, right? That is our victory. And those we are going to celebrate this month, and we are going to really think about it, right? Yeah, and Chris is saying we should all get a medal for getting out of bed when it's cold and dark. 100% agree. And notice there's like the other little cartoon that talks about here I am, and here's this important thing, but there's all these little things along the way, right, that are kind of more important. So then I have some other examples in the little 1 to 26 different ways that you could potentially celebrate those small wins. I have also the other, the small wins, the things that could be small wins, like eating a nutritious meal, talking through a problem, sticking to your budget. Maybe it's didn't make any unnecessary or impulse purchases, right? So I am going to be quiet. I am going to let you work on your mind map, and feel free to share in the chat if you would like, and we'll check back in here in just a few moments. All right. Thank you all for sharing in the chat some of your things that you would consider a small win. And I think a few of you said things like, I'm always, I do something, I check it off the list, and then I'm on to the next thing, right? I never give myself any credit for finishing the thing, right? It's just like, okay, now that's done. Now I've got to move on, right? And that's tendency, right? For a lot of us to just, we're going through, we got a lot of things on our list, right? And it's so important to just give yourself 5 minutes, even a minute, right? 1 minute, 60 seconds to say, yay, I finished that, right? Awesome job. Good job. I would challenge you to do that with your items on your to-do list this week, right? Set your timer for 1 minute, 60 seconds. That's all you got to do. And when you finish something, you check it off, hit that timer, and just literally sit there and think, good for me, right? Like I did that thing. And if you want to celebrate with maybe a nice cup of tea or a little chocolate or a little walk around the office or a walk around the kitchen or a walk around the block, right? Or just something to just celebrate and give yourself that pause and that moment, you will see this idea of optimism and just feeling good. Like I can do this. I can get these things done, right? So thank you all so much for sharing all the different things that you're going to celebrate and how you're going to celebrate that this week. So, speaking of reflecting, right, this is another thing to give us a little moment to pause and reflect. We always do at the end of every week, we do a rosebud thorn activity. And you could do this every day if you wanted to, right? So the idea is we think of something that was our thorn for the week, right? Something that was frustrating, something that was challenging, something that was maybe um, out of our control. And this is going to be, if you're finishing up November's journal, it's on page 56. And if you are over to December's journal, it's on page 30, right? And so that thorn is just this, and so for me, meetings are kind of the bane of my existence. I work for a school district and I'm in the administration, and woo, we love our meetings, right? There are some people I think that's their whole job, is just to schedule meetings. So I'm hoping that maybe this week will be a little bit better. But yeah, meetings are just, working meetings are great when I can work and get things done. But I feel like we do a lot of meetings where there's just a lot of blah, 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 and there's no action items. Very, very much a thorn, very much a challenge, right? The bud is that emerging opportunity, something exciting that's coming up, something you're looking forward to, something that is going to make you smile. And so for mine, I just know that the month of December, there's a lot of time with friends and family. I have a lot of different fun things scheduled. We have activities to do. My mom's in town now, so we moved her up here in February. So she's been getting to do stuff. She got to go with us to get our tree yesterday, which was so nice. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is just a lot of time with friends and family. And then my rows, this is a picture of our tree trunks. We go up to the mountains every year and cut our own Christmas tree. We've been doing that since my husband and I have been together, which would have been, I think the first one would have been in the year 2000. Unfortunately, I've lost some of those. I realized we lost some of I think we're missing like 4 or 5 of the trunks, but these are all the little, we shave off a little bit of the trunk. And so we have one from each year, and it's always kind of fun to look back and see that. So the rose is that highlight something fun, something that made you smile. Could be something small, could be, being with friends and family, watching a movie, doing all sorts of things like that. So I'm just going to give you just a few moments to reflect on your rose, your bud, and your thorn, and then we'll check back in here and keep moving right along. right. Thank you so much for sharing in the chat, Rosebud and Thorn. I saw a lot of thorns where a lot of folks are struggling with the colds and the flus, and it's like all that kind of junk is just going around and people passing around. I know the week of Thanksgiving, that Monday and Tuesday, everybody in every meeting was coughing their heads off. And I was like, I don't want to get sick. What happened to stay at home if you're sick? Don't pass on your germs, right? So I know that can definitely um, be very frustrating as well. Um, Saw lots of folks with roses being able to be with friends, with family. Buds were maybe some upcoming events that people were looking at. Definitely good to see all of those. And again, this is a really great opportunity just to give yourself a minute to think about it. And we usually do see that although sometimes we can think of many thorns from the week, we can also usually think of at least one bud, something to look forward to that's coming up, and one rose, even if it's very small, right? Just one thing that maybe brought us joy or made us smile throughout the week. So it's always good. Thank you for taking just a few moments to give that reflection time for the last week. So let's dive into our weekly planner. This is going to be week 49 of the year. So this is going to be on page 32 and 33 in your journal. And we're going to start out with our feeling, right? This week, I want to feel blank. And I know sometimes maybe that seems like an odd thing to start out with, but it really is very helpful to really just kind of think. I think of this as how I want to show up for myself and for others for this week, right? Like, how do I want to feel? I see people saying things like warm and toasty, festive, energized, all those different kinds of feeling. It could be maybe I liked the little marshmallow guy in the cocoa with those warm winter wishes. Lots of different other words. Optimism, notices one of those in there. You can see it could be one word, maybe it's several words, maybe it's a phrase or a mantra or an affirmation or a sticker or a picture, or maybe it's just something you really want to focus on. Maybe it's a quote that you particularly like. And here's some others. I love the one who did the cute little crossword down on the bottom. They have like number one is blank as a lark, right? Like happy. I'm not sure what number two down would be, but again, we can kind of think of these things. It's a very fun. I like the relaxed one with the little gingerbread men, right? So just give yourself just a moment. Again, I'll play just a quick little song, let you think of that. Feel free to pop that word into the chat or whatever you're going to put in this little box, and then we'll check back in. I love that Reverend Joy Ellen said, look, finally, a use for the candy corn, the marshmallow man's nose. Yes. I know a lot of people are not fans of the candy corn. I do like the candy corn. But yes, lots of sugar there. This is kind of the sugary time of the year. Right. So thank you for all those words. I loved all the, folks had things like peaceful and renewed and energized, well, um, cozy, again, all these different things, main character energy. I love that. So thank you all for sharing how you want to feel this week. And I strongly encourage you to look back at this multiple times throughout the week. Remember that feeling that you want to have and think about, what am I doing to bring about that feeling, right? What does that look like? So now let's work on our weekly major three goals. I had to use this cute little meme because I love Buddy the Elf. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan, but I do like Elf. So I was happy to find this. He loves setting goals. Setting goals is my favorite, right? So we're going to set some goals. And there's different ways you can kind of go about this. Again, I like to kind of keep that feeling, how I want to feel in mind when I set my goals. I can go back to my intentions page on page 9 or my monthly habit tracker on page 11 to think about the goals that I'm going to be setting. I can set those goals through the lens of optimism, maybe focusing on something that you, little typo there, something that keeps you feeling optimistic. Maybe I can do some no goals, right? That will affect my life in a positive way. I saw some folks talking about this being a gluttony time of year, right? So maybe no gluten, right? Or limit any gluten or limit dairy. I know sometimes that can trip people up as well. Maybe it's no alcohol or no doom scrolling, no more than a certain number of minutes spent on social media, no excessive spending, no takeout meals. Those can be good goals to have for the week. Maybe you want to look at previous weeks or journals to see if there's any outstanding goals that you still have that you want to accomplish. Maybe you want to frame your goal around a single personal challenge for the week. So maybe you have a fitness challenge. So maybe you want to do 1 push-up on Monday, 2 push-ups on Tuesday, 3, right? Like, how can you build on that for the week? Maybe it's a cleaning or decluttering challenge. Maybe it's some sort of a self-care goal that you have. Some people like to do different kinds of food and recipe challenges. So to me, this is the soup. These are the soup months. So I would be like, maybe I can find some different kinds of soup that I would like. Maybe I can challenge myself. One of my goals is to try 2 different kinds of soup for dinner this week. If you don't want to set up goals, maybe you have monthly goals and you think, I don't necessarily need weekly ones. Maybe you want to repurpose this as some favorite quotes that you have, podcast, movies, or TV shows that you want to watch. Maybe it's holiday movies that you want to watch. Maybe it's 3 ways to embrace the winter or the holidays. Maybe it's 3 songs of the week that you're going to listen to. Maybe you want to explore 3 topics you want to know more about. Maybe you want to try 3 new recipes. Maybe you want to do a little mini bingo board. Maybe it's just 3 fun activities. Those are all different things that you could potentially use that little space for. Here's some examples of things that folks have done. Some people have a professional mind and a body goal. I had to put this picture. To me, this is my party goal. I want to make a little ugly sweater charcuterie board. I thought that was so cute. I'm like, that's such a cute thing to bring to a holiday party. So yeah, Jennifer, if we were closer, I would make this, we could make the little ugly sweater charcuterie board together. But yeah, I think it's so cute. Maybe it's again, I like the one on the top. They want to continue the micro cleaning and decluttering efforts. They want to read. They want to stay cool. Some people want to attend the planned events, breathe, rest when they can, happy mind, happy body, happy soul, celebrate the small wins, right? Again, since we talked about that, maybe that's a goal for you. Expressing love, maybe it's doing some planning. And then also, I had this little holiday wish list, less stuff, more memories. So maybe your goals are less of something and more of something else. I thought this was kind of a fun, less stuff, more memories, less busy, more peace, less stress, more positivity, less chaos, more calm, less worry, more hope, less complain, more gratitude. I feel like it should be complaining, but okay, that's fine. And then I came across this quote and I thought this was it spoke to me, just saying, you are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. How many times do we say, I'm going to start doing something on Monday, something happens, you don't do the thing that you wanted to do, and then you think, okay, well, now I'll just wait till next Monday to start again, or I'll just wait for this to be something different or do something different. I'll wait for the new year, right? You're under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. So maybe you did something, you want to switch it up. Maybe you're like, okay, so starting now, moving forward, right? Different ways to kind of take a look at that. So I will cycle through these. I will let you work on these. Let me know what you're kind of thinking there in this area, and we'll check back in here in just a moment. So lots of good ideas for different things, things like saying embrace the holidays is going to be a goal. Maybe it's take a class, some sort of self-care time. Um, maybe it's listen to a podcast, take some sort of again, some sort of learning. Jennifer and I are big book readers, so we're always reading, reading is always one of our goals up there on the list. I like there's choose novelty, release stagnation, cultivate learning, right? So those are kind of fun. Maybe it's don't waste leftovers. I love this. So get creative with those leftovers. Or maybe it's clean out your fridge is going to be a goal that you want to have, clean fridge, get rid of everything that's in there. So thank you for sharing those in the chat. Again, this is just an opportunity to give yourself those goals for the week. And then we're going to move into the to-dos, and I'm going to combine the twos with the habits and activities below that. Or if you were with me when I was talking too fast and I called them habities, and folks like to call them habities now, I'm going to combine the two of those together because sometimes I feel like they kind of can be interchangeable. So here's some examples of things to do with that to do. So we have some people divided up into to dos, self, home, and work. Some people, there's a health, home, and work with the pretty little Christmas balls and the little pretty lights. Those are very pretty. Some people like to use what they call the Eisenhower matrix, right? So it's where you basically take those to dos and you put them in, you categorize them as important and urgent. So you do those things. They're not important, but they're urgent. Maybe you can delegate. They're important, but they're not urgent. You decide maybe you want to do those later. Maybe they're not important and they're not urgent. So there are things that you could potentially delete. So you can see some things. Some people call it drop things to do. Some people like to use the Pomodoro technique, which I definitely like to do. So you can pick a task, you can set a 25-minute timer, you work on that task until the time is up, and then you take a 5-minute break. And you do that, if you do that 4 times in a row, so the 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25-minute, 5-minute, right? You do that 4 times, you can take a longer 15 to 30-minute break. And I find that's really helpful because I tell myself, like, I only have to focus on this for 25 minutes. No, I can't open another window. No, I can't look at my phone. No, I can't. And then can kind of focus. Excuse me. So maybe that's something that you want to do in the to-dos, to use that Pomodoro technique to work on that. Some other repurposing ideas, you could make it a ta-da list or do a bingo. Again, we love a good bingo here. So maybe you do a ta-da bingo, right? So it's things where you can be like, ta-da, right? Like I did these things. I'll be honest, a lot of times I like to write things down after I've already done them, because as I'm walking around doing them, and then I write them down and then I can check them off because I've already done them. Maybe you want to do instead of to-do list, you want to have a to-be list, how you want to be for the week. So grounded, compassionate, reflective, active, delighted, or be calm, be kind, be calm, be purposeful. I also have the little screenshot from Silk and Sonder's Instagram that has some weekly self-care ideas that you can look at if you only have 60 seconds or 5 minutes, right? Those are good to use as well. I also popped in here these 8 days to schedule on your calendar for every month. So things like a day without social media, a day spent outdoors, a brunch or a dinner with friends, a day for grooming, 1 day to do something that's just fun, 1 day to learn something new, 1 day to declutter and organize, 1 day to take yourself on a date. So maybe one of those could be on your to-do list. Things to remember during the holidays, right? So again, this is another good one to kind of think about as you're making those really long to-do lists, right? Think about the fact that sometimes it's okay to say no. You need to make time for self-care. Then below that, where those habits and activities are, again, like I said, sometimes these are kind of interchangeable spaces. So you can see some ways that other people have used it. Some people use it to set up their nighttime ritual, right? Where they work in their journal, they use some lavender spray, no electronics 2 hours before bed, they read, they meditate, to kind of take a look at that. I will cycle through the slides when we work on these sections. And so another one has things like unsubscribe to emails, walk for 15 minutes, read before bed, take the noon, the little electrolytes in water, finish a book. Then you can see someone else wrote nope, right? They just kind of nope on that. So sometimes that section isn't needed. And this is really different from that monthly habit tracker where you can go back and you kind of are tracking everything, the one that's in a circle where you want to do something every day. So this is kind of different. The habits and activities are really very specific to the week, right? Here's some other examples of things that people have done. And the numbers are the goal for how many times you want to do that during the week. You don't have to fill in a number, right? You could just use like little dots or something like that. And some people just fill it up with stickers, right? They're like, I've got enough stuff in my to-do list. Like that's all I need to do with that section. And here's what mine looks like this week. So you can see my habit tracker. I have an AM and a PM set of things that I do. And then I also wrote in my habits and activities section, review my habit tracker, because I have a tendency to spend all this time setting up the lovely habit tracker and then I forget to track anything, right? So I remind myself every week, review my habit tracker, so I can check that off, so I can kind of tie those in together, right? So lots of different ideas for how you can use these two sections, the to-dos and the habits and activities. Again, play a little music and then we'll check back in and keep moving. Okay, so I think I know there were a lot of slides in there, and I think, let's see, Francis, I know wanted to see this one. I know there's a lot of slides in there, and Jennifer did remind folks the event, we do record this and it will be posted up on our YouTube channel, so you can always rewatch again and pause it then, so you can get screenshots if you need. But hopefully everybody got what they needed to from these slides, so that we can move on to that next page, which is going to be, oops, I'm gonna skip that one, which is going to be page 33. And that's going to be our meal plan. So, meal plan, I feel like, is one of the most repurposed sections that we have. Obviously, you can use it to plan your meals. You can or you can log your meals after you've had them. But there's lots of other things you can do. I know Jennifer likes to use it to keep track of leftovers. I know somebody said something about like their leftovers. They're like, "What, you mean my science experiment growing in the in the refrigerator?" Yes. We don't want anyone to get ill during this time of the year because of leftovers in there, right? Maybe you want to write the daily affirmation or scriptures in there. Maybe you want to use it as a work or school study tracker. Maybe you want to track your exercise, your cleaning plan, your gratitude log, your mindfulness activities. Yep, podcast tracker. Love that. Use it for your small wins. Absolutely, Andrea. It's a great place to do that. End of day reflection, 7 types of rest, a packing list. I do like to use this as a packing list when I go on a trip so I can figure out what I want to wear each day so that I don't overpack. Maybe it's something about medical conditions. Maybe you want to track blood glucose or blood pressure, pulse ox, those kinds of things. This is perfect place to track some of those different kinds of things. I mean, I'm going to go over all of page 33 and then give you the time to kind of work on this, right? So then we also have the Mind Body Health Plan, right? And I like this little quote here about "'Tis the season to let go of expectations. Have fun, make memories, laugh, and be merry. Your happiness is up to you." So you could use this Mind Body Health Plan to track things that make you feel happy. I like the unplug for an hour, and they give themselves little tasks about switching to airplane mode, no social media, no email, no phone bings, those kinds of things. Maybe you want to use this for your highlight of the day. Maybe you want to, I like the little puzzle pieces, right? They kind of changed it to little puzzle pieces. I thrive when all the pieces come together and they have different things in each one of the puzzle pieces. One person did things that they feel and things that they need. So they want to feel cozy, and then kind of like they need to do chores, right? So just kind of this little balance of that. Yeah, and Shelby's saying, I noticed that I'm more consistent with things when I write them down, right? So and again, you could maybe have this motivation Monday, talk it out Tuesday, right? So you could have this nice little alliteration thing going on there. I like Sassy Saturday. That seems kind of fun. Fun little ideas, right? There's like how to love yourself. Maybe there's different kinds of things you want to put in there. Maybe you want to note to self, write yourself a little letter. Maybe you want to put in a quote that you particularly like. Maybe you want to have, you can use it like they have a shopping list, but they drew little flowers and they made it really pretty. There's also the track or what are glimmers. If you've heard of glimmers, they're kind of the opposite of triggers. So what are the little moments where you feel happy, a little smile? They help you feel present and grounded. So maybe there's something that you could track your glimmers there. Someone else uses it for a tarot card pull and for the week, and then they kind of look at that for what that looks like. And then in the shopping list, there's the celebrate the lots of bingos, right? A lot of people like to use this space for bingos. So you could use it for quotes, a packing list, again, word of the day, book reading. I saw lots of folks talking about different kinds of apps to track their reading. So you could do that there, tracking your self-care, tracking your daily rituals, having it just for fun, right? All of those kinds of things are super fun. And then that I am loving box is just really kind of what you're loving. I like to use it for a quote or something that I've found. So I had found this one where it said, create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life because you become what you believe, right? So that kind of leads into that theme of optimism. So I'm going to scroll through all of these again. We'll go back to the beginning to our little meal planner. Let us know how you're using any of these sections. Some people don't necessarily use all of them. Sometimes I use this for just scratch pad, right? To take down notes, that kind of thing. I've used it before sometimes to jot down if I'm reading something and I want to remember something from that, I'll jot it down there. So I will let you work on that. I will scroll through and we'll check back in just a few moments to wrap things up. All right. So I saw lots of people with different ideas for things that they're going to do. I like the just do it bingo. That sounds like fun. Nathania, wash, dry, put away clothes and trash recycling. Super fun. So this is, yeah, a lot of these places are really good for tracking chores. I love the small wins. I love that folks are thinking about putting small wins in some of these areas. I think it's perfect place. Meal plan works great. Mind body health plan works great. All of those things work great. And I will love to see how that works for you during the week, tracking those small wins. And feel free to share that in Sonder Club, because we love seeing these pictures of your journal in Sonder Club, right? These are all examples of things that Sonder Club members have done. And they're not AI generated, right? They are HI, those human intelligence that we all have doing this. So I love that we have this place for folks to share those examples. So believe it or not, I know this is always the fastest hour, right? This is always so quick, but thank you all so much for spending some time with us. I know that if you haven't had a chance, you probably have seen some of the emails about the personalized life coach that we have now, and some of the different deals that we have going on with some of the pricing. There's some half off specials, those kinds of things. Jennifer's going to pop some links into the chat if you want to explore more of that, but it is pretty fun. And I just got mine. I get it weekly. I used to get it daily, and it was a little too much to have all of that coming daily. So now I get it once a week, and I get it Sunday night at I think 5. So it's like I was like, oh, my thing just showed up. I need to go look and see what my life coach is asking me to do for the week, and I can kind of incorporate that in. And so Jennifer's sharing some links for that with you, some of the different things to do. But oh, do you get it? Nathania says she's getting it 3 times a week. Yeah, I think that once a day is a little much, I feel like. But yeah, 3 times, I might need to bump it up to 3 times a week, because I feel like once a week might be too few. I try to find that sweet spot, right, of what that looks like. So thank you all so much for being here. Hopefully we will see you again at another setup soon. I will also put in a little plug for the new Moana movie, Moana 2. I definitely enjoyed that. And so if you enjoy Moana and Disney, check that out. And I will end with a song from that show, but we will see you all soon.
Believe you think you don't have the tricks, but they're right up your sleeve. These waters are frightening, but you bring the reckoning. So drop all the fear and the questioning. Can I get a who are you? Who are you? Who are you gonna be? You're gonna make some history. Come on, Moana, go get your destiny. Can I get a you need to level up. Go show 'em, tell them enough's enough. Come on, Moana, go get your destiny. Can I get a, let me hear it, can I get a Here's the deal, that bullying storm god skips leg day for real. Can you imagine the legend this epic voyage reveals? You think that it's doomsday, to me it's just Tuesday. You know what, I'll come to play. And you're clever, I never give you enough credit. And under pressure you measure up, you even taught me a lesson. I'm not surprised, you learn from the best. Takes a whole lot, but count me impressed. Can't give up now, you got me invested. How many humans that I call a bestie? Who are you? Who are you gonna be? You're gonna make some history. Come on, Moana, go get your destiny. Can I get a It's my turn to give a motivational speech. It's your job to finally practice what you preach. Because of you, I'm a better